To practice here, we need to choose this two. Is an exam mode. It's with a limit of time. Yeah. Richmond practice test of coverage English first. Richmond. It's like this. Eh? We have 75 minutes. This one. It's in exam mode. Question 1 to 8. Read and choose the correct answer for each gap. Click on a gap and choose a word that will appear. Then choose the correct answer. Holidays. In the UK, holidays began as religious festival days or holidays. The idea of a holiday as no work they seem to have first, I think it's appeared around 150 years ago in the Bank Act established certain absolute all the possible days. Close banks. Could be certain days. But law banks closed bank holidays soon became public holidays, but a tradition, not law. I think it's in fact working people ever took holidays. For many people, paid holidays remain now. It could be a reward. Until the second half of the 20th century, instead, people enjoy all things to nearby close away next. Things nearby places on the day a week when they didn't work. The growth, the quantity increase size on the railways made it possible for working people and their families. Things increase or growth, the growth increase or railways made it possible for working people and their families who further failed on their day's trips as such thing. As far as such all things became possible, as soon as such things became is a boat trade word by local fishermen. Mackay's fun fairs opened and boat trips were offered by local fishermen. Many of the towns that benefited from these days shippers were all at the end of railway lines. There have been many changes to shopping in the past 100 years, but the introduction of supermarket shopping is surely okay. So read the text. I think of the word which best fits each gap. Write the correct word in each gap. 1916. Layout and image are of vital importance at any supermarket for vegetables. On floors are usually displayed immediately inside the entrance of the store. Here they give you a reading. Question 17 to 24, and use a word in the right font and word that fits in the gap. For each question, write the answer in the correct order. The keywords are like this. And you need to know the forms, each word. For example, here, Jean-Pierre Bassin is an action cameraman. He films dramatic events like snowboarding or paragliding. His specialty is using a video camera while skiing at high speed. His most recent assignment was filming. Right? Athletes at high altitudes, everything is exhausting. He says you take your equipment out of the case and you're out of it already. I'm reasoning fit and I managed to take some shots. Running alongside the athletes, but it was very hard. I had headache every morning, and first I didn't realize that these were due to the altitude. I also suffered from sleeping nights, which meant I was always tired. Jean-Pierre is relaxed about how and it is the 23 success about how successful I think he's successful. He is successful. Right? He has become and has few plans for the future. I am not really interested in his fame and my lifestyle is of greater. I did give you the word important. I think it's a greater importance. Importance. Then we follow to the second, the next part. Here's I think the last one. They give you the like this really for question 2530. Complete the second sentence so that it has a similar meaning to the first sentence using the word given. Do not change the word given. You must use between 2 and 5 words, including the word given. Strong winds meant the ship couldn't leave. The word is prevented. The ship couldn't leave. The ship couldn't prevent it. The strong winds, maybe, né? I don't know. The strong. I did this. I'm not sure. The ship couldn't prevent it to leave by strong winds. Maybe it's wrong, but I will try though. Let's see. Then I have the other. Leah had not seen such beautiful flowers before. The word is most. They were had ever seen. They were. I think it's they were the most. Could be the most beautiful. They were the most beautiful flowers she had ever seen. Another one. I have finally decided to emigrate. I think it's like I finally keep in mind emigrate. I have finally keep in mind to emigrate. I think it's correct. This is another one. Can you tell me the time? That they give you a word. What? Do you know what time it is? Andreas doesn't like people to interrupt him when he's speaking. Objects. Andreas give him when he's speaking. This is objects when people interrupt. Andrea objects when people interrupt him when he's speaking. I pack warm clothes for the trip as though the weather might get cold. Case. I pack warm clothes for the trip just in case. Eh? Just in case the weather might get cold. I pack warm clothes for the trip in case the weather might get cold. Eh? I already. And there's another one. Read an article by a musician called Robert Patton who plays the violin in our orchestra. For question tier 1 to 6, choose the correct answer. So then I give you paragraph to read. Read an article and answer the questions here. That theory 1. Then there's the second, theory 2, and choose the correct answer. Yeah? And so on. It's going to take time. Read an article by a musician called Robert Patton who plays a violin in an orchestra for questions 1 to 6. So, when I'm not playing the violin, Robert Patton always seems to be performing, but there's more to his life than his violin. For the last 20 years, I've been playing violin for a large US orchestra, and for most of the year, we go on tour not only within the US but Europe, South America, and the Far East. Being a touring musician is a bit like being a sailor. It's a constant ebb and flow and continuous routine of settling into new hotels and meeting new people all the time. So my ideal holiday is enjoying being alone with my wife. My earliest memory of a holiday was when I was 5. My dad had just bought a new car, and we drove from San Francisco, exploring the most beautiful parts of California. Its food and its art markets. It was a wonderful experience. I vividly remember the beautiful Yosemite Valley, a place of waterfalls and haunting mountains, a wilderness before mankind polluted with its cars and noise. As a child, I collected photographs of the future railway engines that pulled hundreds of goods wagons across America. These trains were like monsters with groups of 4 wheels on each side. For Americans, especially boys like me, Trains are hugely romantic. My first train journey across America was when I was 8 years old. During the day, I sat at the window watching the scenery fly past. At night, I always had a top bunk bed in my sleeping compartment. I would scramble up so I could read my book as the train traveled over the rails to a measured beat through the night. Since then, I've worked and studied my music for the next performance for many hours on train, enjoying the changing view and the sense of timelessness. I love the smell of steel upon the steel mixed up with the smell of the countryside. I love the sound of the engine's horn, which reminds me of the ferries which creep along in between the ships in San Francisco Bay on foggy nights. I've been lucky traveling all over the world and managing just occasionally to take a few days actually to see something more than just the airport, hotel and a concert, all if you are not careful. That might be all you ever experienced. Once when my wife came out joined me in Peru, I took 3 days off and we flew on a small plane in the mountains where we had a wonderful time walking in the jungle. 20 years ago we bought a small house on a great island and went there whenever we could. Initially, there were few cars, and some things were still transported on the back of donkey on the man. Sadly, these days are long gone. We had a tiny cottage with a lovely garden and fruit trees where we used to pick grapes and oranges. We spent a lot of time on the beach as I loved swimming, and in the village, getting to know people. After 10 or 15 years, we were firmly involved in a community, able to share a totally different world, different language, different music. So here in the first, I put, why does Robert compare his life to a sailor? He's a definite routine. And the second, I put, what does line 17 refer to? He's talking about the beautiful Yosemite Valley in question 33. This Robert said about traveling by train night. He found nighttime scenery excited, exciting. Oh, the other is, what does Robert seem to appreciate most beautiful his life? Visiting a variety of different places. The 35. What does Robert suggest about village life on Greek Island? It has changed considerably over recent years. What is the writer's purpose in this text? Should back over his experience of traveling. Well, guys, see you guys. See. I'm going to finish the test. Well, here it's wrong. And then the next one I did it good. Here it's 3, I did it wrong. 4, I did it good. And the 5 also good. Okay? And the final also good. So I need you to read more. I need you to think about. You need to be, how do you say, easy when you read this kind of essays, this kind of exams. When you are going to take this exam, you need to concentrate. Nah? I wasn't just recording the video. I wasn't really reading at all. Nah? Plus I'm listening to music, so well, it's okay. Nah? So you need to concentrate. You need to focus on that. Well, I hope you enjoy this video. Nah? It's a way of doing. It's a test too, reading and using English. The exam is going to be like this. There'll be first. It's very tricky. You need just to read, get used to read and learn, practice your vocabulary, the forms, the word forms, the words, the form orders, word forms. You need to read that. Sometimes it's in blank and you need just to figure it out, the word or the correct form. The only way you can do this is just read as much as you can. See you guys.